Brother lads, welcome back to the Cossy podcast. My name is Cossy. Welcome back to a brand new video. Mikel Arteta is building one of the strongest defenses the Premier League has ever seen. He's adding Ricardo Calafiori to Gabriel and Ben White, and the likes of William Saliba, Tomiyasu, Kivio. It's unbelievable. Mikel Arteta last season boasted the best defense in the Premier League, but he doesn't really care about that. He's adding another world-class centre-back. So the big question is, why is he adding Ricardo Calafiori, and what does he bring? How does he make this Arsenal team world-class? Last season, we only considered 29 goals in 38 games. That is not even a goal per game in terms of ratio. So why is he adding another talented defender to the ranks, instead of maybe investing in a new goalkeeper, maybe adding to the strikers, or maybe adding to the midfielders? This is why, and this is how Ricardo Calafiori is going to make Arsenal a much better side defensively, but also overall on the pitch as well. So the first thing we've got to think about when it comes to Ricardo Calafiori adding to Arsenal is going to be set pieces, and this is an area where Arsenal really succeeded a lot last season. I think Arsenal scored more goals than any other team in the Premier League from set pieces, and that came from the fact that Mikel Arteta intentionally is making this Arsenal team big and tall as well. So the addition of Kai Havertz, Gabriel, Saliba, and the likes of Declan Rice literally mean that Arsenal have so many big players. Arsenal have so many, tall players, and we don't even use Declan Rice as well because he's actually always out there trying to whip the ball in. So if we could add Declan Rice to the penalty area, Arsenal could have dominant players, in that box. So one thing we're going to see again with Mikel Arteta next season is that Arsenal are not going to concede goals from set pieces, because instead of making the team shorter, maybe could have gone with a shorter left back, maybe someone like Maximilian Mittelstadt at from Germany, maybe someone like Marco Kurela from Chelsea, but he has gone with a centre back that is tall, a centre back that is huge, just to make sure that when we are in a situation where we have to defend against a set piece, we have around 5-6 players that can actually protect our goal. So if Saliba and Gabriel start, those are very good in the air. They're at least some of the best we have in the Premier League. Then Ricardo Calafiori in the air is also dominant, and Ben White is also dominant in the air as well. You've got to factor into the fact that Arsenal have one of the best goalkeepers when it comes to dead ball situations and crosses, and then you have the likes of Declan Rice, Kai Havertz, who are also tall, and they give you that confidence and that aerial prowess. So when it comes to defending set pieces, it's going to be very interesting. We might not see Arsenal concede goals from set pieces ever again. But also, in terms of set pieces, it comes to the other side. Arsenal scoring goals. So like I said at the beginning of this video, Arsenal scored more goals than any other team in the Premier League when it comes to set pieces, and that was something that was really intentional. To put that into perspective, Arsenal scored at least 16% of their goals from set pieces last season, and we did see dead ball situations as well bring us a couple of goals. And even if it's not dead ball situations, Kai Havertz won the game against Brentford home and away with a header, a cross from a cross from Saka, and a cross from Ben White as well. So that means that Mikel Arteta now understands the importance of having a very good team that can pass the ball and create chances. But what if those chances don't come? What if you cannot break the team you're playing against? You cannot break the opposition you're going against. Then you can go long, you can go in the air, and probably can win the game from that aspect. So that's what Ricardo Calafiori now adds to us, and that we're going to go even a step higher to score more set piece goals. Despite the fact that we can defend them well, we can also be able to score as many as we can. So that's the first thing that Ricardo Calafiori actually brings to Arsenal. He's got that ability to improve our set piece game, which is already one of the best in the world, if not the best already. The second thing that Mikel Arteta will get from Ricardo Calafiori is obviously rotation. And rotation is really undermined. But I'll give you an example, and I'll put this into perspective. Pep Guardiola's defenders never pick up injuries. I mean, yeah, it's a fair statement to say. Akanji, Diaz, Ake, Gvardiol, Walker, Stones. This Man City boast of one of having the biggest squad in terms of defenders, and all these defenders have one or two things in common. One, They never pick up injuries. Secondly, they are very, very reliable. So what Mikel Arteta is trying to do with the signing of Ricardo Calafiori into Arsenal, he's trying to make sure that even if we do not have Gabriel, even if we don't have Zinchenko, even if you do not have Saliba, the team can actually survive. So what happened in the 2021-2022 season opened the eyes of Mikel Arteta when William Saliba picked up an injury and Rob Holding came and spoiled the party. By the time we returned to Jakub Kiwior, it was very, very late. So Mikel Arteta decided that ever since that day, he's going to make his backline versatile, flexible, but very, 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 very talented. So Calafiori is a talent, Julian Timber is a talent, and when you think about those two, Arsenal could win a game without Julian Timber on the pitch, and Arsenal will win the games without Ricardo Calafiori on the pitch as well. So it doesn't mean that because he has signed them, they're straight away going to come in and play each and every game. Literally, that's not what it means. It means he can call on to Julian Timber in games where Ben White is struggling, or in games where Ben White is not selected. And it also helps him to rotate these players to make sure that they don't pick up injuries, to manage their minutes, and also just to make sure that at the end of the day, if I have Ricardo Calafiori playing 25 games, I can have Zinchenko playing 22 games or 23 games as well. That's what Pep Guardiola does. That's how he does it. That's how his defenders actually keep on being fresh for a whole season. And I think we saw a bit of tired legs and burnout from Arsenal between November and December last season, when we lost to Aston Villa, we lost to Wolves, we lost to Fulham, and drew against Liverpool. During that period of time, one of the things that I felt really, really hurt Arsenal was a small squad, and Mikel Arteta obviously boasts of having a smaller squad of players that he can trust, a smaller squad of players that he can use, but you've got to have a big squad. In December, just to give you an example, Arsenal will play a minimum of 7 games in 1 month in December. That could be Premier League and that could be other competitions as well. So it means that for you to play Saliba 7 games in December, it is practically impossible that he won't pick up a lot of burnout, that he won't actually suffer from burnout. So what Mikel wants to do in terms of rotation is, if Calafiori plays 3 games in December, then we can play Gabriel the other 3 games in December, and it is a fair argument to have. Next one is the attack, and defenders can attack. Dead ball, the football is dead. There's no question about that. Mikel Arteta, Pep Guardiola, Vincent Kompany, and other disciples of Pep Guardiola are killing football. But there's nothing we can do. We've got to enjoy football the way it is. Otherwise, there is no better sport, there's no better source of entertainment than football on planet Earth. So what Mikel Arteta is trying to do here with Ricardo Calafiori, and why you see that he's a very, very interesting profile as compared to Julian Timber and as compared to Ben White. Julian Timber and Ricardo Calafiori will help Arsenal's attack very much as compared to Saliba, Gabriel, and all the other players. So what you have in Calafiori and Timber is very progressive defenders. So, Cossy, what do you mean by very progressive defenders? When we say progressive defenders, we're talking about players that have got that mindset of just driving the ball forward, driving into the final third, driving into the midfield, and also passing into the final third. So usually what you see with defenders, even if defenders are very good, they love to play that side by side, sideway pass, because it is very safe. Obviously, you don't expect the defender to break through the lines with this, passing. It's a little bit risky. But with Calafiori, Angela, and Timber, that is why Mikel Arteta has brought them into Arsenal. And I'm going to make a prediction right here. Mikel Arteta is going to play Julian Timber and Ricardo Calafiori more times than Ben White and Alexander Zinchenko. If you want, believe it. If you don't want, let's wait and see. Let's wait for the season. But I've made my prediction. Julian Timber and Ricardo Calafiori will play more games than any other player, in the wing backs and right and left back positions at Arsenal. The reason is this: the attack. So, because you're going to be playing with around 4-5 centre backs, in the new system, like Pep, like Mikel Arteta again, you want to have those centre backs to have an impact on the game going forward. Imagine if Arsenal only have, starting from Declan Rice, attacking players starting from Declan Rice. it can't work. So you have to have your fullbacks engaged. You have to have your centre backs engaged as well. And I think with Gabriel and Saliba, they've done it very well. When Arsenal are in possession, they play a very, very high line. They come as close as to the centre line. That is good. But it also means that you must have fullbacks that must be brave, quick enough, and very good on the ball to overlap the runs made by Saliba and the runs made by Gabriel as well. But then as well to go as far as overlapping Martinelli and Salah. Sorry, and Saka. Saka. So who does that best? That is Julian Timber. That is Ricardo Calafiori. So we're going to see Arsenal's centre backs, or left back and right back, who are disguising as who disguise as centre backs, actually contribute to our attack a little bit more as you would have thought. And this is something that I saw coming when we signed Ben White. We tried to sign Lisandro Martinez. I thought this is what Mikel is trying to do, and finally it is here. Apart from the attack, Mikel Arteta is also looking at big games, and big games are now more important than ever. This is why we have big games these days, more big games than we had in the past. Now, under Arsene Wenger, Arsenal had around 3-4 big games. You had Liverpool, you had Man United, and you had Chelsea. These days, Mikel Arteta has to battle Liverpool, Chelsea, Man United. But there is, on top of that, a Manchester City side that is very dominant. And then you've got the likes of Brighton. You've got the likes of, maybe Tottenham. You've got the likes of Newcastle. So you have around 8 big games, 8 big teams that you have to play home and away. That makes it 16 games in a whole season. And if I ask you, which games did Arsenal lose last season? We drew against Liverpool, we drew against Man City, we dropped points against Aston Villa, we dropped points against Newcastle. So what Mikel wants actually is to make sure that you have a very good system that can pick up points in a very easy setting, maybe Bournemouth, maybe Burnley, maybe Ipswich. But when it comes to the big games, you've got to have the players to deliver. Your players must deliver on the big occasion. For you to win titles these days, you have got to go to up to 95 points. And how do you get to 95 points? You beat Liverpool home and away, you beat Man City home and away, you beat Manchester United home and away, and you beat all these teams that everyone thinks, Arsenal could have a problem there. You beat them home and away. And this is where Ricardo Calafiori and Arsenal making their defense better and bigger is actually going to be very important. Big games are not won by 7-0, 5-0, 6-0. Big games are won by a 1-0, 2-1, or even that magical 4-3 or 3-2. So with having such a good defense, Mikel makes sure that he's not going to concede many goals regardless of who is attacking us. We can make sure that we concede 1 or less goals per 90. And of course, Arsenal's attack at the moment and midfield, they can guarantee us 2 goals per 90. So that's what Mikel is trying to do. Can we win games by a 0-0? Can we win games by 2-1? Can we win games by a difference and a margin of 1 goal? By having such a good defense, I think we can. Last season, I think we did fail to do it a little bit. For example, I'm looking at that Liverpool game that we led a 0-0 at the Anfield, and I'm like, you've got to win that game. I think that's what Mikel Arteta is trying to do. And the goal we gave away against Liverpool was stupid. Alexander Zinchenko must not be in that position, and the fact that he's there, Mohamed Salah really has an easy go at him, and just scores an easy goal. So that's what Mikel doesn't want. He wants us to be able to get a lead, maybe 10 minutes in, 20 minutes in, or 30 minutes in, and defend and protect that lead. Now, finally, what Ricardo Calafiori is bringing to Arsenal is midfield overloads. I talked about Arsenal's midfield problems, especially when we play against the mid-block, and I think this is the best way to deal with it. So, of course, when you play a team that is so good at implementing a midfield low block, you're going to struggle. And Arsenal struggled last season with Bayern, with Aston Villa, with Chelsea at the Stamford Bridge. Because you don't have so many players, to overload their midfield numbers, you're just going to be around there passing around, right? You cannot go over them. You cannot go through them. So just going to be passing your way patiently, waiting for a chance to come. So what Mikel Arteta is trying to do here, and that's why I'm saying that We might see Joel and Timber play more games than White. We might see Calafiori play more games than Zinchenko and Tomiyasu. What Mikel Arteta is visualizing is that you can have two of your centre backs in Timber and Ricardo Calafiori come into midfield together with Declan Rice and Partey and Martin Odegaard. That gives you a midfield overload of 5 against 4. Even if they add another player there, you could have Kai Havertz, who is a very good player at dropping into the midfield, come from that attacking line, drop into the midfield, and you can have a midfield overload of 6 players. So those midfield overloads are going to help Arsenal a lot against teams that are very stubborn and against teams that are very, very disciplined and patient when it comes to their defensive structures and defensive shapes. Hit the like button, subscribe to the channel as well. Let me know whether you think Ricardo Calafiori's defense makes us better and makes us world class. Yes, at the moment, he's still a little bit of a raw talent, but there's a reason as to why Mikel Arteta has chosen him over any other player in that position. We'll see you right in the next one.